For the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to focus your attention on Carlos Sainz Vasquez de Castro, the smooth operator. Of course, he drives... Hang on, I forgot the intro. Carlos Sainz Jr. Are you a fan? He was born on the 1st of September 1994. That makes him 25 years of age, and he is the only Spanish driver racing in F1 now that Fernando Alonso has left the sport. And before I get too far, thank you to luxurybazaar.com for sponsoring this video. This company's been around for decades, and if you're after high-end accessories, and in particular pre-owned luxury watches, you'll want to visit their website. Of course, buying a pre-owned watch means trusting a supplier, and there are very few resellers more trusted and respected than luxurybazaar.com. For your next Rolex, Hublot or Tag Heuer, anything in fact, check out luxurybazaar.com. Back to Carlos. He's got two sisters, Bianca and Anna, who I've not met or shot at any race, and neither have I met or seen his mother, Reyes. His father, Carlos Sainz Sr, well, that's a different matter. He's at most F1 races supporting his son. He's a relaxed double world rally champ, and he's often at his son's side in the paddock. Now, I met Carlos Sr in Perth many, many years ago when I drove him in the drivers' parade at Rally Australia. So that's two Carloses in the Carlos Sainz team, but there's a third Carlos in that very same team. It's his manager, seen here, another Carlos, Carlos Honorol. This pair of Carloses are often spotted in the paddock, and while Carlos is Carlos's manager, Carlos is also Carlos's cousin. And the other member of the Carlos inner circle is his physio, Rupert Manwaring. He and Carlos are together for probably well in excess of 200 days a year, and as Rupert admits, it almost feels like the pair are brothers. Such is their relationship that when Carlos scored his first podium result in Brazil last year, Rupert had to honour a bet he'd made with the Spaniard that saw him having his head shaved. When it comes to prepping for a session at the track, there's normally plenty of boxing involved between the pair. It fires Carlos up, and you can hear the pair working out from some distance away. On TV, you probably see McLaren's press officer, Charlotte Sefton, by Carlos's side when they're in the paddock. She handles all of his media requests. She directs him to different TV crews in the media pen and ensures he gets to all of his media commitments over the weekend while recording everything that's said for transcribing and future reference. Oh, and as a bonus, I'm doing a scarf tour after the credits at the end of this video. Hang around for that. Now, Carlos drives for McLaren under the number 55, but why 55? Well, his favourite number is 5, but Seb had 5 when he went to apply for his number, so he went with 55, which also works nicely with the two S's in Carlos's name. His nickname is Chili, and where did that come from? Well, it's a derivative of Carlos. How so? Well, when Carlos and his mates go out, Carlos becomes Charles, Charles becomes Charlie, and Charlie became Chili. So that's how he's ended up with Chili as his nickname. He gets on really well with Sergio Perez. Obviously, they both speak the same first language, Spanish. And while he got on well with Nico at Renault, he gets on famously with Lando. It's really quite a special relationship. There's plenty of laughing and joking. It just looks like the guys enjoy each other's company. Certainly in Japan, last year, I had that funny incident where one of them drew on the other one's picture out the front of the track. So the other one drew on the other one's picture, and it was a great graffiti exercise. And they're probably, in fact, are they? Yes, they are the only two drivers, teammates, that I see standing on the grid before a race chatting. And I've caught them a couple of times, and they seem to just go through strategies and what did you think of the warm-up laps there. And as I said, I don't think I've seen any other drivers do that when they're standing waiting for the national anthem to play. There are also lots of fun in interviews, and I hark back to Singapore where we had that situation where somebody, and I think maybe it was Carlos, who's turned Lando's chair around for the start of this particular interview. And Lando's come and arrived, sat down in it, and the two have just sat down at right angles for, I don't know, maybe the first minute of that particular interview. But that's the sort of fun stuff that I think the public, you, lap up. And I certainly lap it up, and I enjoy being close to it. At all of the Euro races, you'll find that Carlos has a PlayStation and an F1 game on hand, and every chance that the pair have, Lando and Carlos, they just get on that thing. So who's got the wood on the other? Lando apparently beats him almost every time. Healthy competition, bit of fun, and I think you'll find that on a Saturday after qualifying, after the debrief, after they've had dinner, particularly at those Euro races, you'll find that both of the boys are itching to get back on this PlayStation game to improve themselves. And I think the team finds it a source of great amusement. So let's go back to Carlos's start in F1. It was 2015. He joined Toro Rosso. Now, I first started shooting him in 2017 when he was still at Toro Rosso. 3/4 of the way through season 2017, he replaced Jolyon Palmer at Renault for the last 4 races and then stayed on for all of 2018 before moving to McLaren last year. His best result prior to McLaren was a 4th at the 2017 Singapore GP, driving for Toro Rosso, but he trumped that in Brazil last year with his 3rd place finish. A great day for him. Now, I missed the celebration shot, which was done on the podium probably a couple of hours after the race had finished. That was when the protest had gone through about Lewis, and he'd lost his 4th place, and Carlos was elevated by 1. But that was certainly a landmark day for Carlos. So what does he love to eat? A good burger. And one of his favourites is the beef and pulled pork burger from Honest Burgers in the UK. But none of these does not like tomatoes, reckons. Makes the burger too soggy. On the subject of food, I really would like to see you at one of my F1 dinners this year. You can find all of the details at kimillman.com or find the link below in the description. And coming up, I have a beautiful private room in Amsterdam. Then there's Monaco with a private terrace party in Menton, about 20 minutes away, Montreal and London on the Tuesday prior to the Silverstone race. And if you book early, you'll receive 1 or 2 A3 prints on the night. Back to Carlos. He wears a Sparco race suit, Alpine Stars boots, and a Richard Mille RM011 watch worth plenty. And if you like watches, check out my Watches of F1 video, the link you'll find below. Come race day, I regularly see him being interviewed by Noemi de Miguel from Movistar as he heads to the drivers' parade or the race. And I think they have a pretty close relationship. In fact, I shot Carlos with Noemi and Charlotte, his press officer, in the paddock in Austin on that very cold Thursday last year. And they were standing for a 3-shot, all quiet, Carlos in the middle, and then suddenly he pulled the girls in tight, got some great reactions on their faces, and just goes to show he's a real character. He also enjoys kicking a football about. I've snapped him a couple of times doing so at the track. And he's a fair golfer. Plays off a handicap of about 10, I believe. On the subject of facial hair, he certainly mixes it up a bit, as you can see. Even trying a goatee, and sometimes just covers the whole lot up, as was the case in Austin last year. Carlos is a cool guy. He scrubs up well on TV and in photographs. Well, maybe not all the time, but I certainly find him to be relaxed in the paddock, often sauntering around on his own without a minder. And last year, he finished 6th in the Drivers' Championship, effectively best of the rest. But that was with Albon and Gasly splitting that 2nd seat at Red Bull. If he finished 6th this year, that would be a remarkable jump for McLaren. But stranger things have happened. Thanks for watching, and remember to stay tuned after the outro for an exclusive scarf tour. You can find all of my images at prostarpics.com. My blogs and podcasts are at kimillman.com. And for my best pics live from the track and during the week, it's at kimillman on Instagram. Okay, I promised you a scarf tour, so come with me as we leave our little studio here. And quite frankly, I don't need this on today because it is 38 degrees outside here in Perth, the capital of Western Australia. It's a big state, it's a hot state, and I'm filming this just before I head away to testing in Barcelona. But I want you to meet a couple of people, because if you're watching my videos, you would be well aware that the graphics I have at the start look quite nice. That's because this man, Nichols, this is the world.
Hi.
He's working, just explain quickly what you've done here.
I basically took this image and I converted it in this.
Yeah, and that takes some skill, way more skill than I have, so thank you for the beautiful work you do.
Pleasure.
Kirali is the general manager here at Messages on Hold.
Kim, what are you doing?
I'm doing a tour, scarf tour.
Hey, that was my idea.
It was your idea, and I thank you. And why did we do it? I can't remember.
I think you happened to have one on for the first one or two, and then you didn't wear one, and people started commenting.
Yeah.
So I said, do it all the time.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit more colourful than a shirt would be. So I'm going to now take you down to show you our scarfarium, where all of these scarves are housed. I've also got a whole lot of other employees here from Messages on Hold. This is Adrian, who you probably remember.
Hello everyone.
Live stream man.
Yes, working on the live stream, making it better.
Yeah.
Working on the videos, working on the podcast as well.
And when you're not doing live streams, what do you do?
Working on the audio for the companies.
And he's very good, and he's got a good voice, and he loves his work. And we head down to the back of our offices here in East Perth, and I'll take you and introduce you to my wife, Tonya, with a Y.
Hello.
Tonya, this is most of the world here.
Hello world.
Could you talk us through this collection, a sample of the collection? This is not all.
So these scarves have been collected over probably 30 years. I'm not a handbag person or a shoe person, but I do like the odd scarf. All of these have been given to me as gifts, none chosen by myself. I love every single one of them. I think probably this one here is my favourite at the moment.
I've worn that a couple of times. It is most colourful.
This one here is also a really nice one that I've just recently acquired.
What amazes me when I wear stuff like this is that people go, oh, that's the so-and-so, so-and-so. So I realise that there's this real knowledge of what's going on in this high-end fashion part of the fashion world.
This one actually belongs to Kim.
And this is the other one I have. So I own two, one Louis and one Gucci. But we've also got some other ones that aren't quite as flash as this, that get more dragged out when we're obviously at the end of the tether and we haven't got... Now, this is quite nice too. I interrupted myself, but there's a story there.
This one's done by a Japanese artist, and we found it in a gorgeous department store in Tokyo. And they're all young, up-and-coming artists, and every single scarf in that store was stunning. So it was a very hard decision. But I didn't even know I was getting this. It was actually a gift. Kim and my youngest son went back and picked this one out for me, which was a really lovely surprise.
And I will be taking a couple away to Barcelona and Madrid, because I see the overnight temperatures in Madrid getting down to 1 degree, and that's quite cold for me living in this warm climate.
This is the one I suggest you take.
Yes? Right, I'll got to make sure that my scruffy beard, when it gets a bit scruffy, doesn't wreck it. So that is the end. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate.